Hey everybody, my name is Jordan and I'm from SerendipityOA, and today I am going to show you my order tracker spreadsheet. So this is a very powerful spreadsheet, very automated spreadsheet that me and my team use every single day in our Amazon FBA operation, and I'm excited to share this with you. So in this video, I am going to show you all the functionality of the spreadsheet. We're going to go over everything that the spreadsheet can do and can offer for you. And then in a separate video or blog post, I am going to show how to set up the scripts in the spreadsheet for the very first time, and also how to set up whatever online or on-screen calculator that you're going to use to export your data to the spreadsheet. So those programs like SellerAmp, Seller Assistant, RevSeller, Ace and Zen, those types of things. Okay, so let's get into what the spreadsheet is and what it can do for you and how it can make your life easier. So as I mentioned, at the core of it, this is a order tracker spreadsheet. So it does exactly what it says. It helps you track and organize the orders that you have from all of your different suppliers. But on top of that, it has a bunch of automation built into the sheet that gives us a ton of additional data. Some of the data is very useful and is needed for us to operate a viable and profitable Amazon FBA business. And overall, the spreadsheet just helps make the reordering process a lot easier for most sellers. So firstly, you can see here, we have a online arbitrage sheet, and this would be where you keep track of any orders that you place from any OA suppliers. So the information that we currently have in this sheet, and again, you can adjust it to whatever your liking is. But for me personally, I keep track of the supplier, any notes I have for the items. So that'd be for things like if it's a multi-pack, a bundle, things like that. The product name, the ASIN of the product, the Amazon URL, the source URL, the buy cost of the item, the price I'm expecting to list this item at, the potential profit or the expected profit from that item, the ROI or return on investment, the BSR or best sellers rank or sales rank, the day I order those items, the quantity I ordered, the day I received those items, the quantity I've received, and then some additional information related to the items in the shipment that we'll go over a little bit later on. Where you might see that the spreadsheet looks a little bit different than your standard order tracker is you can see that there are headings for each individual supplier. This is something, again, that is very automated, and this is just what I use to help keep my entire spreadsheet and operation more organized. So on to the next sheet here, we have the exact same sheet for retail arbitrage. I like to keep all of my purchases separate, so I'll keep track of my OA, RA, and wholesale orders all separately. But this is the exact same sheet as what you saw for the OA section, just with different suppliers. And then the wholesale section, the only difference with this sheet is exactly the same, except we have the added SKU over here. When I'm ordering from my wholesale suppliers, I like to have the supplier SKU, and that just makes my life easier in the future if I want to reorder those items. Okay, so on the dashboard here, we will get into the first bit of automation. So the dashboard here gives us a bunch of good information at a glance. So we have inventory limits, unit info, and totals as well. So under inventory limits, we can see that we have information here for 2 separate accounts. If you operate more than one Amazon account, you can use both of these sections. Most people only use one account, so most people will only be using the account number 1 section. And in this section here, this is how we can keep track and keep tabs on our inventory limits at Amazon and how many units that we have purchased that are on the way to us, and then how many units we have left. So in this example, I input that we have an inventory limit of 1,000 units, and we're currently utilizing 300 of those units. So we currently have 300 units at Amazon or on the way to Amazon. So then the spreadsheet here will calculate for us automatically. That means that we have 700 units left, that we can purchase 700 units more of inventory. And then also, based on the information that we input into the OA, RA, and wholesale sheets, it'll tell us how many units we have on order. So if we've ordered 100 units, it'll indicate here that we have ordered 100 units. And then it'll update our total here, and it'll tell us that we have 600 units left, that we can purchase 600 more units worth of inventory. Okay, and then under the unit info section here, this will just tell us how many wholesale units we have on order, our total pending cost of those units that we have on order, and our total potential profit of those units as well. So it breaks it down and tells us that our totals for wholesale, online arbitrage, and also retail arbitrage. And then over in the total section, it gives us a grand total of the total units that we currently have on order, the total pending cost, the total potential profit, and then the units ready to ship. That is a section that we'll discuss in more detail a little bit later on in the video. Okay, so the next sheet here is the quick links. So as we know, using spreadsheets, they can get very messy and very hard to navigate. The more suppliers that you have and the more products that you purchase. So this section here is just to help make that a little bit easier on yourself and save you some time. So of course you can go into any spreadsheet and you can hit, you can go here, you can hit Control F and you can search for your supplier and it should find it for you. But sometimes you have things all over the place and you have multiple different products with the name Cabela's in the source URL. So I just make this so I can navigate to the top of any source at a click of a button. So if you want to navigate to, say, Indigo under the online arbitrage section, you can just come to Indigo, click that link, and it will take you right to the Indigo section. And again, with everything else in the spreadsheet, it is very automated. So anytime you add a new supplier in OA, RA, or wholesale, it'll automatically add a new quick link in here for you as well. Okay, so the next sheet that we have here is the inventory on hand spreadsheet. So I personally like to keep track of any overstock that we have. I know a lot of people don't. That would stress me out, not knowing what I have on hand or what I need to send to Amazon. So I use this sheet to keep track of any overstock that I have that we're not currently sending to Amazon. So if, you know, an item normally sells 10 units per month, and we got a really good deal, but we had to order 60 of those, maybe I only want to send in 10, 20, 30 units of that item and have, you know, 30 units left over as overstock that we can send in the following months. I would put that overstock into this sheet here. So you can keep track of the supplier that you purchased the inventory from, the product name of the inventory, the ASIN or ASINs of that inventory, the total quantity that you have on hand, the total cost per unit, and then in column F here, it'll automatically calculate what your overall total cost of that inventory is. If your inventory is perishable, you can input a expiry date here. You can see that this field here is currently green. So if the inventory is more than 120 days out for expiry date, it'll be green. And if it's less than 120 days, it'll turn red. So I'll show you an example here. Say we input December 1st. We can see that that field automatically turns red for us. So it's a visual indicator that we need to look at this inventory and action it soon. You don't want inventory sitting around and expiring. That's just like throwing your money in the bin. If you keep track of your inventory via a shelf or bin system, you can input that information here. So if you have, say, shelf A, shelf B, shelf C, and then box 1, box 2, box 3, you can input here what shelf and what bin you have that inventory in. So it's just easier for you or your employees to find an inventory, pull it out, and get it prepped and sent off to Amazon. For the account section here, if you, again, operate more than one Amazon account, you can indicate here what account you want that inventory to be sent off to. So if you want it to go to account number 1 and you want to relay that information either to yourself as a reminder or to your warehouse staff, you can input what account you want that inventory to be added to. The date entered section here, I like to input what day we enter the information or the inventory in the sheet. So, and this section will again turn red if that has been 1 month or more away. So that just gives you, again, another visual indicator that you had the inventory sitting around for a month or longer. And this is inventory that you should be likely looking at and actioning, because we're not in the storage business, we're in the Amazon moving products business. And the more that you have inventory sitting around and the more cash flow you have tied up, you can probably be better using that money to purchase inventory that's moving. So again, that will turn red for you to hopefully stress you out and bring your attention to it and get you to send that inventory off to Amazon. We have a note section here, so you can relay any notes that you need either for yourself or for your staff, such as if it's a multi-pack, a bundle, if there's anything you need to look out for the inventory, etc. And then the last section here, we have the total inventory cost on hand. So this will just take all the fields from field F, or from column F rather, and add that up for you. And that will just give you a total cost for that inventory that you have on hand. So that's just good as a visual indicator. If you have a bunch of cost, it will show you how much money you have sitting around. And it may be helpful for you for year-end accounting if you need to tell your accountant how much cost of inventory you have sitting at your warehouse. Okay, so for the next section here is a supplies order tracker. I've personally found that a lot of smaller sellers do not keep track of the shipping supplies or business supplies that they order. That's fine if you're small time or if you're not ordering a bunch, but as soon as you start ordering a lot of different supplies, I personally like to keep track of it to make sure that we are receiving exactly what we have ordered. And it also makes it easier for my staff to keep track of that. I can input here what we've ordered for supplies, and then when they receive it back at the warehouse, they can actually input what we have received. And again, it gives me some visual indicators that will go over if this is inventory that me or my manager need to action in the near future. So in this example, we placed an order with Uline. We ordered 6x14 poly bags. We ordered them on September 22nd, so that is more than a month away. It's been more than a month, so this field will turn red for you automatically, just as an indication that it's been more than a month. So if you haven't received the stuff yet, you may need to call up your supplier and be like, yo, what the hell? Where's my stuff? We ordered 3,000 bags in this example. And in this example, we received these bags on September 30th, and we received all 3,000. So if we did not receive all 3,000 bags, say we received 500, again, that field will turn red, and that just gives you a visual indicator that, hey, we didn't receive everything that we ordered. Maybe we need to call up our rep at Uline and be like, yo, what the hell? Or maybe you have stuff that's currently in transit, but you just need to keep an eye on it because we've ordered it more than a month ago, and you might need to just follow up with your supplier there. And then you have a notes section if you need to add any relevant notes to either yourself or to your staff. Okay, so then the next section that we have here is the daily spend tracker. So I found that a daily spend tracker is a great way to set goals and to keep track of your goals and make sure that you're hitting them. We know that in an Amazon FBA business, you make your money when you buy. And if you are spending more money and making educated, viable buying decisions, the more that you spend, by default, the more money that you're going to make. So realistically, we should be trying to spend as much money as we can, assuming that you can handle it and you know what you're doing. And if we set realistic goals and we work towards hitting those goals, that is going to help us by default grow our business. So a daily spend tracker is something that's great for anybody to have. This spend tracker is a little bit more special because, again, it's very automated and it pulls in information from the rest of the spreadsheet as well. So first thing that we can look at is we can change the month here. So right now we're in November, but if we change this back to, say, October, it updates all the days for us automatically and also changes the spend goal based on the amount of days that you have in the month. So for October, we obviously have 31 days. So if we have a spend goal of $20,000, it'll tell us that we need to spend $645.16 per day at least in order to hit our goal. Whereas if we change this to November, there is 30 days in November, so there's one less day. So it changes the amount and reflects 30 days instead of 31. Okay, and then over here, the total spent. This will add up all the totals in the column C, and it will tell us the grand total of everything that we spent so far for this month. And then the total remaining will show us how much money we have left to spend in order to hit our goal. And then over here for the total spend, this will pull in the information automatically from your OA, RA, and wholesale sheets. And anything that you spend on a particular day, it'll pull that information in here for you automatically. So if you spent $1,000 on November 1st, it'll tell you that you spent $1,000. And then if you spent $1,500 on November 2nd, it'll pull that in here for you automatically as well. And we'll show you some live examples coming up here very shortly. And then if you have any specific notes that you want to leave yourself for each day, you can put that in there as well. Excuse me. And then the last sheet that we have in here is the stats sheet. So this just gives you some information, a breakdown for all of your suppliers. So for example, if we look at Amazon, it'll tell us how many units we've ordered from Amazon, how many units we've received from Amazon, if we have any outstanding quantity, and then any outstanding pending cost and potential profit for those units as well. Okay, so let's look at some live examples here. So again, like I said, there is a lot of automation in this spreadsheet. So normally you would connect this with your on-screen calculator like SellerAmp, and you'd have all this information exported automatically for you with a click of a button. But today we're just going to manually type everything in here. And the scripts on this spreadsheet, they're set to run once every single minute. So if I'm typing information and it kicks in mid-type, we may mess up and we may need to redo it, but we will give it a go, and hopefully it does not activate in the middle of us entering this information. So firstly, in the supplier section, we should have a formula. Just give me a second. Let me pull that formula from somewhere else here. So we have a formula here. It'll fill out the supplier information based on whatever source URL we have over here. So I will show you an example. If we type in Costco.ca, it'll automatically fill out the supplier as Costco. So let's put in the rest of the information here. And $5, not a realistic product, but we're just doing it as an example. Not November. Oh, it already moved it for us. So the script kicked in, and you can see it picked up the name Costco, and it put it under the corresponding heading here. So I'm just going to change the date ordered. So again, this is a great way to make sure that you are organized and organize everything into individual suppliers. Okay, so we can see that moved it under Costco here. So let's try it one more time. 5, 5, 5, 20. Just see what it does for us here. Not Costco, Costco. These fields should be formatted. 1 second. There we go. Okay, so now you can see here, again, it moved the data for us automatically, and I moved it underneath the other product that we already had up here as well. So that is one bit of automation. If you add in a supplier that is not currently in your list, so let's see here. We do not currently have iHerb in here, so let's add a product from iHerb. iHerb.com, 55520, and a bunch of gibberish. Okay, so what will happen is this will pick up that there is not currently a supplier in our sheet, and it will make a new heading for us automatically. So I'm just going to go down to the bottom of the sheet. As soon as this kicks in, it should put it underneath Walmart here for us. And there you go. So there is iHerb. So with this sheet, it will not sort the suppliers automatically for us. Unfortunately, we haven't found a way yet to do that. But if we do, you will, of course, get that additional functionality for free. So if we want to move this to the proper spot in the sheet, you can just highlight any relevant data that you want to move, and then come over to the left-hand side here and just left-click and then drag it up to wherever you want to put it. So iHerb belongs up here, so we will put it up here. And then we can also take a peek, and we can see that in the quick links, it made a quick link for iHerb for us here. Again, we can sort it. We can sort our data ourselves here as well. So we go data, and we go sort range, and we can sort that if we want to be nice and neat. And if we go and look over at our dashboard, or our stats, sorry, we can see that iHerb has been added in here as well. Okay. Alrighty, so let's see what else this sheet can do for us. So if we look over at some of the examples we added for Costco, we have not yet indicated that we've actually ordered any of these units yet. So let's say for this example, I want to order 20 units. Whenever I place an order, I always come over to the quantity received and input that I've received 0. So that will turn red for us automatically because the quantity received and the quantity ordered do not match. So now we can take a look at the rest of our sheet and see how it's updated. So we look in our dashboard. We can now see here that it has indicated that we have 20 units that are on order. And it now updated this amount here to show us that we have 680 units left remaining before we hit our Amazon FBA overall inventory limits. Okay. It also imported all the relevant information over here. So for online arbitrage, it shows that we have 20 units on order. Our pending cost is $100, and our potential profit from those units is also $100. And then over here, again, our grand total, which is 20 units, our grand total for pending cost, and our grand total for pending profit. If we add on another item here, so say we ordered 100 units of this item here for $5 a pop, we can take a look at our dashboard. And again, it updated our total units on order to 120 and our total costs and potential profit to $600. All right. So now say we've waited a week and we have received our inventory. So November 7th, we received 20 units of that. November 7th, we received 100 units of that. Now again, as usual, you look into your dashboard. We see that we have no units on order and that our max units remaining has been adjusted back up to 700. And that updates based on the information that you input up here. If we just purchased 100 units and we sent them off to FBA, we would indicate that our utilization is 400, and all that info would update for us automatically there. Okay, and since we have some units that we have purchased, let's take a look at our spend tracker. So we can see here that our spend tracker has updated for November 1st, and it has indicated here that we have spent a total of $600. It tells us up here that we spent $600 and that we have $19,400 left before we hit our monthly goal. And again, this will update for every single day for all the data that we input into our sheet here. Okay, now let's talk about this stuff over on the right-hand side. So we're going to get rid of this, set these guys back to 0. All right, so whenever I purchase inventory, I like to input into my sheet whether it is a replenishable item or if it is a new SKU. So if it's a replen, that means that it's an item that I have previously purchased and I'm putting it into Seller Central under the exact same SKU. So if it is an item that I purchased before, I would check off that it's a replen. And then over here on the sheet, It'll turn the supplier name to green, and that gives me a visual indicator that I need to just replenish this item and not make a new SKU for this item when I'm adding it to the shipping plan. On the flip side, if it's a new item, I would indicate that it is a new SKU. And then over here, it'll make the supplier name red to give you a visual indicator that this item needs a brand new SKU. So you need to add this as a new item into your shipping plan or into Seller Central. Okay, and then so say we have that data there. I can see here that I need to add this as a new SKU. I've received my 20 units that I've ordered. It all looks good. So I input here that I received my inventory on November 7th. I received all 20 units. Now I know that this has to be now added into a shipping plan, or your staff at the warehouse can indicate to you that this inventory has to be added to a shipping plan. And you can do that by clicking on the ready to ship. Then that will turn all these fields here to yellow. And that will give you again a visual indicator that this is yellow. I need to add it to a shipping plan. And this field over here is red. So I know that I need to add this, and I need to add it as a new SKU. So this just helps automate our process to add new units to our shipping plans and make it more streamlined and make sure that there are a lot less mistakes that happen. And then we get it added to our shipping plan. We know it's ready to go. So now we can click off the Shipped button. And now that will turn this whole field. Click off Shipped. It'll turn this whole section to green. So now we know that this section has been actioned. It's been added into a shipping plan, and it's been passed on to our packers, and we no longer have to worry about this section at all. Okay. Okay, so now that we have the ready to ship section checked off, we can go back to our dashboard and we can now see some information in the units ready to ship. So whenever we have this section checked off, that's the information it'll import over to our dashboard here. So we can see that we have 20 units that are ready to ship. So it's our grand total of 20 units, and it gives us a total cost that we have as well. So sometimes for myself, I like to know how much value or how many units we have added into a shipment, and this allows you to see that information at a glance. So what I like to do is we do a shipment, everything is checked off, ready to ship and shipped. I come in here, I review any relevant information that I want to look at, and then when I'm all done with that information, I come back into the spreadsheet and I uncheck any of these units that we've already shipped out that have been picked up by UPS, and then that will update our dashboard here accordingly. So now we can see that there's no units that are ready to ship here. Okay, so I believe that covers everything pretty broadly on our spreadsheet here. So I hope that kind of shows you all the main features and shows you what kind of automation the spreadsheet can bring to you and what kind of time savings this can be for yourself in your own individual processes. If you have any specific questions or you need help with anything, reach out. I'm always happy to help or answer any questions you may have. And if there's anything that I missed, certainly let me know, and I'll make another video or a post regarding that, and we'll get that all fixed up. And that has been our order tracker spreadsheet.